with a remarkable sense of humor. A pity he just can't be convinced to pen all his anecdotes. But as many decades his junior, Zahur decided to take on this task. Since policemen are always looking for somebody to blame, here is a list of people who actively connived in the execution of this work. Anat Nautiyal gave a heap of articles sent in shape of a book during his visit to India. Later, sensing the gravity of the offense, he promptly fled to London, far away from the long arms of the law. But the law will get him one day. Blame Chandra Prakash for his persistence. He just wouldn't give up till a publisher was located and condemned to do the deed. Now Chandu Bhai would have yet another opportunity to put his admirable energy levels and wonderful ideas to good use when he faces the music. Hassan Zaidi is charged with making cartoons of policemen, albeit wonderfully. The columns that accompany them are not his fault. However, it is on his record that his boss in the Times of India, Vijay Sahi, directed him to do so. Hence, he is an equal partner in crime. The title Corporate Large is the outcome of a post-dinner conversation in Kullu with Neeru and Deepak Kapoor. Much before Zahur wrote the first article, they must share their bit of the mens rea. Cognizance must also be taken of the Sareens, Dr. Rajesh Sharma and Amardeep Rai. They are avid tribute leaders and never fail to tell Zahur, first thing the days they saw his column, you did it again. They are all charged with instigation. Strong evidence exists against Shilvardhan Singh and Ram Advani for abetment. This charge sheet must also indict Carlyle McFarland, who edited these articles to make them read better. So that makes him one of the prime accused, and this is not his first brush with the law. Udyan Singh, the publisher who picked the bait, also falls into the same category. Now that he is in the dock, he will have to face the consequences. Saeed Naqvi has kept the cops at large for a long time. In the end, the cops' persistent paid and Saeed Bhai became an approver. The cops earned a sugar-laced and a very timely introduction. Fault must also be attributed to the Tribune, who certainly would have put a stop to all this 8 years ago, had they only the foresight to tell Zahur to quit writing and do some serious policing. But instead, they chose to grant him opportunity after opportunity to write out for them. Well, most of all, Zahur pleads guilty of making fun of his fellow cops, his friends and his wife Alvia and their 2 children. He is sure they felt embarrassed whenever they found mention in his middles. But at the end of the day, it always made them laugh. Ladies and gentlemen, we await your verdict while the cop is still at large. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. So you've heard all the charges, and you've heard everyone who's being charged. Zahur, after I'm here, has written a book, and we're all here to celebrate it, to celebrate him, and to celebrate the book that he's written. He came to me 2 weeks ago, actually called me, and said, I have this book, and there's a book launch, and will you come and conduct the proceedings? I immediately reared and said, I've never done this before, and I immediately put forth many other names, far more competent at the task, and he absolutely insisted. So Zahur is not only a friend, he is also the father of my students, and his wife is a teacher in our school. And given all those 3 hats he wears, I could not refuse, but you must be warned that I'm not used to doing all of this, and so if I make bungles, I hope you will bear with it. Anyway, welcome everyone to this event, and we're all very happy today. A special welcome to our chief guest, Mr. Saeed Naqvi, who has, everyone knows him, he's from Lucknow. I don't think he needs much of an introduction. At the same time, I think if we listen to his formal introduction, it should take your breath away, as it's certainly taken away mine. He's a very illustrious journalist, with print and TV, of very long standing. Mr. Naqvi has a his degree from the Princeton University in the United States, from the Thompson School of Journalism, Cardiff, and from the Delhi University. He's a distinguished fellow at Observer Research Foundation. He's a senior advisor at the Center for Culture, Media and Governance at the Jamia Millia Islamia University, and he's an editor and producer of the World Report. He's been a foreign editor and the editor of Southern editions in Indian Express Delhi and Indian Express Madras, respectively. He has been writing for Sunday Times London, Salem Evening News Massachusetts. He's written stories and features in many newspapers and magazines, the New York Times, the Guardian, the Washington Post, La Repubblica, Italy, out of those. He's also published 2 books, Reflections of an Indian Muslim in 1992 and The Last Brahmin Prime Minister, 1996. He has interviewed some of the most illustrious world leaders in print, from Bangladesh, Prime Minister Mujibur Rahman, Krishna Menon, and Prime Minister Indira Gandhi in India, the President Colonel Gaddafi, Libya, Prime Minister Bhutto, and Ziaul Haq, President Ziaul Haq from Pakistan, Chairman Yasser Arafat, Palestine, and presidential candidate Jimmy Carter, the United States. He has interviewed for TV several world leaders from all over the world, and the list is exhausting, but let me just point out some. Afghanistan, Australia, Bosnia, Canada, Croatia, Egypt, President Hosni Mubarak, France, President Jacques Chirac, Germany, Foreign Minister Klaus Kinkel and President Richard von Weizsäcker, Iraq, the Foreign Minister Mohammed Said al-Sahaf, Ireland, President Mary Robinson, South Africa, most illustrious, President Nelson Mandela, and his was the first television interview after his release from prison in 1990, 1995 and 1997. Soviet Union, President Mikhail Gorbachev, UK, Jack Straw, amongst others, the British Foreign Secretary, US Secretaries of State Henry Kissinger and Colin Powell, UN Secretary General Kofi Annan, and since the Iraq War, he has interviewed Colin Powell, Hamid Karzai, Benazir Bhutto, etc., etc., etc. If I were to read it all out, we probably wouldn't get to Zahur. So we're very glad to have you here, Mr. Rafi, and I think you deserve the